One, two, three, four.
I'll tell you what, I've been missing that intro. It has been way too long, Jared, way too long. And he's on mute. I tell you what, we are kicking off the cobwebs, guys. It is season 2. We're excited to be here. Season 1 was a journey, to say the least. But hey, again, we're still working out some kinks in season 2. And I don't think my co-host Jared can figure out mute and unmute.
My microphone keeps going in and out. My good mic, so I don't.
Oh, great! He's on mute again.
my microphone keeps going in and out, man. It's been so long since I've used it that
it doesn't know how to work. Doesn't know how to
forgot
operate.
how to do its job, man.
Right.
Yeah. Dang.
Well, let's see how long this goes. Anyway, again, welcome to Armchair Analysis. For those of you out of the 2 viewers that have been listening, shout out to Dan, shout out to Brett, our 2 loyal listeners. We're up to 2 loyal listeners now, Jared. But hey, 10 episodes, finished out season 1. We took a little hiatus, little reset, and we are back, baby. We are so back.
You getting pretty excited? You sound excited.
I mean, I think it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. Spotify hasn't kicked us off their app yet. YouTube still hasn't, caught wind that we're doing this thing. So we're still live,
We're still alive, and I still don't know what's going on with my microphone. So you might have to hang in there with me for a little bit. Hopefully it sticks this time.
Jared, I'll tell you what, season 1, we had some ups and downs there. I know you and I separately, we had set some goals. I don't think we accomplished any of those goals, but
hey, the year's not over yet, man.
Year's not
We're
over.
only halfway through.
We're still well underway. We started season 2. I will say, you learn a lot. I know that the few listeners that we do have gave us some serious criticism in a good way. You know what I mean? Again, they're growing with us. Like we're learning how to do this just as they're, learning about us. So I think that's half the fun. Am I right? I'm sure if Jared could answer, he'd have something.
You are right. But I know my mic keeps going in and out. So this is not going according to plan, but we're going to keep rolling with the punches. We're just going to keep it rolling. Raw, uncut, man. Wow. This is what it is.
So when I was talking about, hey, the good and the bad of season 1, we're not off to a great start for season 2. But all that to say is, hey, we've taken a lot of the criticism to heart. We're really trying to perfect our craft here, and we're just excited. We're excited to see what the future holds, and getting better at doing this and having more meaningful conversations and more exciting, maybe out of left field conversation. So, Jared, I know that again, it has been a couple months since we've done this. So let me hear what's been going on in Jared's world. Let's let the people know a little bit more about us, before we kind of jump into some of our topics here.
Yeah, man, your boy's just been trying to keep his head down, working a lot. And for those that don't know, I'm a physical therapist for my day job. So just been really trying to hone in on a slightly new role I was given in the start of the year and try to do it to my best ability, and then trying to continue some learning outside of that to kind of further that kind of my personal career with physical therapy. So really just been working hard at that, man. Me and the missus have been living out in Seattle as well. So things have been going really good in that sense. And we're in the process of wedding planning, as you know. So trying to figure out, like usual, I have probably put way too much on my plate at once, but we're trying to figure it all out between work, some schooling that I'm doing, and and this, and then planning a wedding. So
you've kept your head down. Nothing happened, nothing happened Memorial Day weekend. You didn't get together for any like pre-wedding festivities.
nothing worth talking about. It wasn't that much
Okay.
fun.
All
So,
right.
no, I did. I was fortunate enough to have you and a few other guys I consider some really close friends plan and celebrate the wedding that's on the way through a bachelor party. So that was a good time in San Diego for sure. I love me some San Diego, man. I've been trying to convince the missus and both our families to move there for quite a long time now. Unsuccessful, but
Keep trying,
I'm not
man.
a quitter. So
They say between that and I think it might be like Lisbon, Portugal. It's like the two nicest climates or the most desirable climates in the world. San
really,
Diego and Portugal or Lisbon, Portugal. So, I mean, you can't go to San Diego and hate it. I
I
mean, it's
know.
between 50 and 70 degrees all day, all day every day. Like, dude, the bars are open air. It's real floral. There's DJs in the corner. I don't know how to describe it other than it's just a vibe. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
it
know
is.
how people get work done. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah, it'd be hard to stay focused, that's for sure. I will say, and I understand people's biggest argument is, well, what about, the other seasons? And don't get me wrong, and like what about having some green around you? And we're spoiled with that being in Seattle. We're definitely spoiled with getting the green and everything, and you get a mix of all the seasons. And I love that. I'm not a big winter fan, but I love the fall. I love the spring. So I get it. But there's nothing like just being somewhere where it's that very tempered climate all year round with the sun on top of that all year round. I rather that. And then I'll take a trip to New England in the fall, or I'll take a trip to Seattle if I want to do like a nice long weekend full of some hiking and stuff like that, where
It's
you're
just
where you're in
funny
the green
though.
in the mountains.
It's funny the people that live there though, they still find things to complain about, like the marine layer, right? It's kind of cloudy up until, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe
Mhm.
noon, and it's like you don't hear the end of it. Like, it's what a shitty day it is. It's like,
Right,
guys,
right.
come on.
I know. Perspective, I guess. But
Right.
but yeah, man, that's really all that's been going on in my world. Just staying busy. I think I'll have some more fun stuff to share either end of summer and or end of year. End of year, there should be some big moves being made in the Johnson household at that point.
Well, we're excited to track this I guess this wedding path. We're excited to see how that develops and all the other things that you're doing in your life. So, for those of you who may not have listened to some of our old stuff, Jared and I have been friends for what is it, almost 30 years now, Jared? I mean, it's
It's been a long time, man. It's
been
been
a
a
long
long
time.
time.
Some
Some would
might
say
say
too
too
long.
long. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
jinx.
Damn it. God. Well, yes, we have been friends probably too long, and we're still doing this. So until we fight about something and then this show gets canceled, we're still here. But all that to say is Jared and we met each other playing soccer. So needless to say, we are big soccer fans. Jared is probably much a bigger soccer fan than I am. I typically hate watching soccer, but when the World Cup comes around, your boy bleeds red, white,
It's
and
hard
blue.
not to get excited, man,
It is
especially when
hard
the
not
US
to
is
get
actually
excited.
in the World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
I will say I'm not the biggest, like, I'm a homer type of fan. So like what I tell people, obviously I love soccer. Like you said, we grew up playing it together. So we played it for more than half our lives. But I'm a big, like, I have to have a team that I'm super passionate about in order to really consistently watch that sport. And I never was able to get into the European league, so I don't have an emotional attachment to any of those teams. So, they're fun to watch. They're a lot more fun than the MLS, but I don't have an emotional attachment. So I need something to draw me to them. And our hometown team, DC United, has been terrible probably every year that I can maybe count on one hand how many successful seasons they've had in my entire life. So it's hard for me to really watch a sport and follow even the MLS because I don't have a team that's worth watching right now. So it's a challenge. I still support my DC United. Don't get me wrong. I support them, but it's painful.
You're trying to come back from throwing American soccer some strays, huh?
I mean, I think there's a reason why our U.S. team pretty much all play overseas. We got some U.S. soccer still has some catching up to do. So,
well, we've got David Beckham, I think, is our new U.S. soccer ambassador. So I think he's trying to make the game a little bit bigger than it is now. And yeah, I mean, we're not to the European standards. That's just, it is what it is. But hey, we're still going to cheer our boys on regardless.
Oh yeah. Come on, now 4-1 win already against Paraguay. Come on, man, that was dope.
I love when the memes start popping up and you just see U.S. wins 4-1, and you've got the powerhouses. You've got Argentina, Spain, Brazil, France, England, and all of a sudden America. People that have never watched soccer, it's hey, we're gonna win it all. We just beat this tiny South American country, and all of a sudden, hey, no one's stopping us. So,
well, it's funny too because I don't know if too many people caught this or not, but immediately after the win, they go to the commentators up in the booth, and the commentators up in the booth that have played, soccer at a high level are Alexi Lawless, Zlatan, and Thierry Henry, right? Well, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the other broadcaster's name, but she mentions, U.S. scored 4 goals for the first time ever in a World Cup. And Thierry Henry and Zlatan, they kind of start smirking. They're like, other countries have been doing this for a long time. U.S. does it for the first time ever, and we're making a big deal out of it like it's something. And it's
gotta happen at some point,
We're just such the little brother to these other countries when it comes to soccer, though. It's so obvious that these guys are all right, U.S., chill out. You guys had one good game and you're acting just like you said, you guys are about to win it, win the whole thing,
You know what though? It's hey man, you got to start somewhere. Did we have a couple mistakes here and there? I think the first half, I think that we looked great. I think we kind of fell apart a little bit the beginning of the second half, but we kind of came back around. It is fun to see though how much we've progressed from watching in the years past. It's just awful. It's
no, we're definitely a lot better. And what was the big change, right? The big change was that a lot of our guys play, because it used to be that U.S. was so strict on really trying to keep everybody purely homegrown, and it was so obvious that was such a limiting factor. So to actually be promoting our younger players, developing overseas, and really building in those systems, you can see the difference and how much better we've gotten. Now, like I said, we still have a long way to go, but I don't know if you remember this. I called this in 2022. I said, just wait till 2026. These guys, all these young guys,
here we go.
All these young guys that were on the team in 2022, probably a couple years too soon that they're playing for the national team. They look the part. You could tell that they were just they weren't ready. They just weren't ready. All those same guys, probably about 80% of those guys are playing or on the team this round. 80% of the guys that actually get on the field. And I think they'll definitely get out of the group stage, but they have a real shot of making it to the round of 16 or a round above that, depending on how the chips fall, man.
Let's shoot for the stars, baby.
So I'm just saying.
We're talking about, these young guys and their growth and how they've, 2022, obviously we missed the World Cup and now we're back for 2026. We're talking about these young guys. The best player in the world is how old, Jared? 17 years old, playing for the best team. So little fun fact for those that are listening. The Spanish team is actually training in some little podunk town called Chattanooga, which is what happens to be where your boy lives. So, I mean, me and Yamel have hung out a couple times. We're boys now. We've dapped up each other, I think
you're hanging out with 17-year-olds, Josh.
I guess that didn't come out right.
That's a little strange.
All right, I take that back. Anyway, we're boys, is what I'm saying. We're boys. I practically am like an honorary Spanish soccer teammate is what I'm trying to get at.
Have you gone to any of the practices? Do they let the community
No,
go?
they're playing at a high school. Now you've heard like the newspapers that are like just roasting America. Like America sends the one of the best teams in the world to like a high school in, again, some no-name town. And it turns out this school is like $60K a year for high schoolers, like boarding. I mean, if you get a chance, look at this school. I've walked on this campus
It's a really
a few
nice prep
times.
school.
It's nicer than most colleges, truly. Like it's,
Wow.
I think Peyton Manning's son is like, he's an 8th grader going into 9th grade, probably going to be like the starting quarterback. I mean, this is like a really prestigious high school. And just so happens the Spanish team is playing there. They've also, I mean, I do got a little bone to pick for them. They have kind of like messed up my commute to work. You know, they've kind of slowed me down a little bit. But all that to say is we're happy they're here. It's pretty cool for a little small town like Chattanooga.
What is your commute? And how?
Well, it's gone from 15 minutes to like 20 minutes. Basically, I mean, I'm just saying it adds up. You know, when you're kind of late to work, you know, you got a meeting on the line and all of a sudden they got to shut down the road so they can get these, buses out.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And then I got to text, a couple people from Spanish team like, hey, let's pick it up, boys. Come on.
Text your boy Yamal because you're out here texting 17-year-olds.
All right. Now this is going to shut us down. This is why we get canceled. Anyway, so real quick, I like that we're talking about sports. I think this is a really fun time. Honestly, it's kind of a really fun time just in general with sports. You know, we've got the World Cup going. We've got the NBA finals. We've got the NHL finals.
Well, real quick, before we switch sports, what is your prediction? Just tell me who you think is going to win the whole thing.
Oh, God.
Everybody's saying France or Spain.
Okay, so here's the thing. France is just so loaded. They have so many weapons. I think it's hard to I hate going for the favorite, but they just have so many weapons.
So you think France over Spain? Okay.
I do. I think France. I would say, and because since we just went from talking about Yamal, who is potentially the best player in the world right now, you know, going to like the other side of that, I mean, you've got players that have now reached 6 total World Cups, Jared. 6 total World Cups, right? It only comes around every 4 years. So they've been playing at this level for 24 years. Messi, Ronaldo, like that is just absurd. And I think it's the goalkeeper from Mexico as well. I don't know his name, but those 3.
I just love that every year Messi's like, nah, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna retire from international, and then he comes back another year. Nah, this is my last year, guys. I promise.
You got to think, even if I think a lot of them are like coming off the bench now, which makes sense. But it's more just like if you slap their face on a billboard, like people are gonna want to watch.
For sure. Just for the
people
hope
are gonna want to see Messi, the greatest of all time, or Ronaldo. You know what I mean? They're gonna want to see these players play, even if they're gonna come out for 20 minutes at the end of the game. Like still, and it's inspiring these young players, you know, who they've never known anyone else. So it's just really cool to see. I think I was talking to some of my coworkers, and I think one of the things that's interesting, especially because we're in America, soccer is like 4th or 5th in the lineup, right? You've probably got football, maybe behind that you got baseball, then basketball, then maybe hockey, and then soccer's probably 5th, right?
I think soccer would be above hockey in the U.S. Hockey, there's not even a lot of college hockey teams. You know, it's not even a significant D1 sport.
Either way, it's below. I personally think it's below the Big Four. I think it's below the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, and
from a professional. You mean from having a professional league?
Yeah. I mean, again,
I guess. Yeah.
All I'm saying is so, you know, we're talking about this, and you know, we live in such a weird time, right? We're some of the greatest athletes of all time are we've got to witness them, right?
Yeah.
Football, you've got Tom Brady. Basketball, you know, you've got LeBron. You've got, you know, we got to see a little bit of the outskirts of Michael Jordan.
Yeah. And you're
baseball.
seeing the next generation at the same time
Right.
start
What
to
who's
ascend.
who's the guy on the Dodgers that's
Oh,
he's
Otani?
Atani. Yeah, they say he's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, he's
he's one of the
insane.
greatest ever. It's wild to see. Like we are in such a weird, wild time. But you've got these players again. You've got all the people that I've just named who are household names in America. And I'm talking with these coworkers, and we still don't realize how big soccer is. I think Tom Brady has maybe like, I don't know, 50 million Instagram subscribers or 100 million, whatever. And then you might have LeBron that has like 150, 200. Guess how much Cristiano Ronaldo has followers? I think
You
he's the
said
most.
LeBron has how many?
I think it's like, I think I saw it was like 180 million. So it's between 150 and 200, I think.
All right, so I'll say like 400 million.
Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. A little bit higher.
Dang, 500? 7?
He's between like 650 and 700 million.
Dang, dude.
Like, again, I don't think we can comprehend just how big soccer is here because we've got, I don't want to say it's a distraction, but we've got all these other great sports to watch. But meanwhile, around the world, these people live and breathe soccer. So
yeah,
it's cool to see the World Cup come to America. I think that's what I'm getting at. It's fun to see, it's fun to see like all these watch parties all across the country. And it's not, it's not people are rooting for the Knicks versus Spurs. It's everyone's rooting for the USA. Like that's just so cool.
That's what's I do have I'm kind of annoyed with FIFA though and with the US when it comes to hosting, because you can tell like it was a little embarrassing to watch the US their opening match and they couldn't fill the stadium. Like that's not a good look. You're the hosting country and you couldn't fill the stadium for your opening match. That's not a good look. And it's because they made the prices way too much. People can't afford the tickets. And so I think that's where FIFA really messed up, was making it just so ridiculously expensive. Isn't it? So it's just so embarrassing to be the host nation and you cannot fill the seats, man. Like that's not a good sign. So should we ever host down the road, they gotta take a look at that and fix that, in my opinion.
Well, let's be honest. We could get into a lot about what's wrong with FIFA, right? I mean, you've heard about like all the corruption scandals.
Yeah.
I mean, FIFA's in it for one thing, they're out to make money. They're not above taking bribes.
But they say this is kind of going down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Okay.
I forget who I was listening to. I was listening to some podcast, or maybe it was some broadcasters talk about, what is one of the biggest reasons why US soccer is so still, when we have such a large population, so far behind a lot of these other nations. And a lot of that also came down to money, and where even at like some of the lowest levels of soccer in the US, it is so ridiculously expensive for kids to be able to play and participate that it excludes so much raw natural talent. Whereas overseas, you play a lot of these places in Europe and these academy like developmental programs, even at the really like the younger ages, is a lot more affordable. And because it's a lot more affordable, these younger kids are getting access so much quicker, which means then the programs that are hosting these kids are getting such a larger pool of really talented young soccer players, and then able to obviously take them and develop them and keep them through their system. But because in the US it's so expensive, we're excluding so much natural raw talent. And it's kind of a shame, man, if that ends up being the case. And it doesn't surprise me, right? Because it's just so expensive in the US in general. But it's a shame because you just think about all the talent we're probably missing out on with a lot of homegrown players.
Maybe one day, Jared. Maybe one day. Probably not, though, as the disparity, the financial disparity grows. But
yeah.
All that to say is, again, excited that the World Cup's in the USA. I think before we change topics, I think one of the most interesting things I've heard so far from the announcers is since they've implemented like this mandatory water break, doesn't matter which games. Like I know in the past I think they've implemented this like the mandatory water breaks. If it's ridiculously hot out during the day, but then at night, obviously it's a little bit cooler, so they don't have water breaks. But now they do. It's basically turned this game into, instead of having two halves, you basically have a 4-quarter game, which I thought was a very interesting perspective on things. I don't know.
Yeah. Why do you say that? What makes it interesting to you?
Well, I mean, it adds a lot more stoppage time. Instead of having like 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time, now they have like 9 or 10 minutes at the end of each half, which I think, good or bad, I don't know. I mean, it hasn't gone bad for, any teams I've liked so far, but once it does, I'll probably curse it. I don't know. I think it just changes up the game a little bit.
It really stops momentum. There's been a couple games where like a team has a lot of momentum and then it's the water break and it completely kills that team's momentum. And anybody that follows sports or has played sports, you know that momentum is a real psychological part of the game. So yeah, I think that's been interesting. I also think that, you look at it as each team gets a timeout, right? So a coach gets a chance to actually which in soccer you don't normally get, but you pretty much get a timeout with your players to like discuss things and switch gears and change what you want to change, which in soccer you don't typically get to do. Like, yes, the players can hear the coach, but between the fans and the intensity of the games, one of the things that I think has make soccer so special is that once you're out there playing, a lot of times the players, you got to figure it out on your own. You got to be able to adapt and figure things out on your own, because the only chance the coaches really get to impart a change in strategy or technique is by trying to tell the guy they're subbing into the game, and then you hope that the team can accurately play telephone with each other and all get on the same page. But usually players out there just got to be able to figure it out. But now, a coach gets a timeout in the first half and a timeout in the second half to be able to really switch gears if they want to, which makes it interesting as well.
Now, keep in mind when he's saying timeout, because you kind of caught me at first. When he says timeout, we're just talking water breaks, yeah?
What? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, how in any other sport, typically you can call it, like basketball, right? We just finished the NBA final. You can call a timeout. You can draw plays and stuff. This is a mandatory or just a free timeout given to each coach in each half. Yeah. Now, what you got to keep in mind, though, one thing I have liked, you haven't really seen it implement. You haven't seen a team get penalized for it yet, but there's like the 5-second count when you're going to throw a ball in, which I like. I think the goalkeepers are on a count as well, which they kind of have been, but I think they're just making it a lot more strict now. And then there's what was the other one? Okay, I had a question for you. Was it always 5? You get 5 subs in a game?
I thought it was 3 for a while.
Okay, yeah. The fact that now it's 5 and they actually are they track it on the screen for you, I think is actually kind of cool. I'm completely blanking on what it used to be at that level, or for the World Cup for FIFA rules. But yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Well, hey, more to come as we get, a little bit deeper into the World Cup. I'm sure this won't be our last conversation.
Now, one more thing.
Yeah,
sorry, I just thought of this too, that I didn't think was actually I thought it was one of those rules that they tell you they're implementing and then it never gets enforced, is players getting a card now for flopping. And that happened, I think, the very first game that happened, where a guy got a yellow for flopping. And I thought that was very interesting.
It's funny you bring that up. So I saw this, and we're probably talking about the same player, but basically they called the card on, I think, the defensive player initially. Mm-hmm. They gave him a free kick, and then they kind of went back. They started playing again, and then it actually stopped the time again for like a misidentified player, and they actually went back and gave the other guy a penalty for flopping. And we're probably talking about the same thing. But again, I think there is some beauty to the whole, bringing more technology into it, right? We have like the referee's point of view, which is, I don't love, but it's kind of cool every once in a while.
I kind of like it. The camera view, I kind of like it. Yeah.
You've got you'll see they're about to take a corner, and you see the drones flying and over top. So honestly, I don't think technology is a bad thing. If it can stop the flopping, it's almost exactly what they do. They curl up in the fetal position. They hold onto their ankle. They cry for about 5 seconds. The camera pans off of them. Then you go back and the players operate. It's
yeah.
It's all right.
Bad. It's bad for sure.
And I remember years past, I used to hear stories of the French team. The French team would as part of their practice is they would learning how to flop better. They really sell
that stuff is real, man. I mean, it's an art, they say.
It is part of the game, I guess. And I hate that it's part of the game. I was commending watching the US. I was like, our guys really aren't flopping. And then after 30 minutes in, I saw a couple guys do the old fetal position, grab the ankle. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
I had such high hopes.
I don't know. I will say that, for anybody that doesn't like the extra reviewing, but then you can't, if you don't want the extra reviewing that the refs get a chance to do, then you can't complain about refs getting calls wrong, right? You can't have it both ways. You got to either, if you want the refs to get it right, you got to give, because you're asking refs to do the impossible. Being a referee might be, in terms of what you get out of it, other than just your love for that sport, one of the worst jobs ever, because everybody's mad at you all the time. And it's a lose-lose situation, I feel like. And so the fact that they have a chance to, be like, hey, I got this call wrong. I went back and looked at it and I'm going to reverse the call. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Now,
I will say, so guess how much out of 104 matches of the World Cup referees are guaranteed a baseline of, guess how much in the 6 weeks that they play?
You mean how much money do they make?
Yes. Baseline.
For the World Cup?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 60K.
100,000. With incentives and with performance-based bonuses, they can make up to 300,000. So it is, yes, they have a difficult position because again, they could be giving someone a penalty, which could damn near alter, if they're in a later stage, it could alter the trajectory of who's favored to win. But I think they're doing probably okay. Seems like it for 6 weeks of work.
Yeah, but that's the 1% of the 1% too. That's not your average ref.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got you.
And you got to remember, these guys, these refs get death threats. There have been refs that legit get murdered over making a call that impedes a team's ability to win the game. That's a series at that level. I'd be legit nervous at times, because there's legit been cases where I will never, I know you've heard this one. This is a long time ago now. And this isn't at the FIFA level by any means, but the ref who was refereeing a game in a small countryside town in Brazil, somewhere in Brazil. Have you heard of this story?
No, lay it on me.
So I and if it's not Brazilians, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure it is. And this ref gives a kid a red card, right? So it gives the guy a red card. I don't know if that team ends up losing the game. I would imagine they would because of what happened after the fact. But yeah, this guy gets a red card. And after the game, the people who were fans of that team, of the player who got the red card, I don't know what was involved in the scenario. They murdered the ref. They beheaded him and stuck his head on a stick and put it on the ground in the field.
All right, I'm going to say either two things, because when it comes to sports,
it's crazy, bro.
Either people take sports way too seriously, which, I mean, let's be honest, there is some sports that started off as warfare. I mean, look at lacrosse, that was Indians played a game and whoever lost died, you know what I mean? But then there's also did this guy lose because he gave the guy a red card and the other team lost, or the team lost, and now someone who some head of a mafia or mob is now out $200,000 because he bet on his team to win. Like, I don't know.
Regardless, somebody should not be beheaded because they gave.
No, but that's
somebody
what
a
I'm saying.
red
It's
flag.
like all these things that are happening behind the scenes that like we don't know about, but
Yeah.
that happened, And there is, let's be honest, there have been like some shady refs that like, they're probably getting their pockets lined and they make a
Oh,
few
for
dollars.
sure.
But,
Every
like,
sport. Yeah, every
yeah,
sport.
yeah. So
That just
I
recently
think it
happened in
happens both.
basketball.
Hit me.
Right? Like within the last year, it was two. I think you and I were talking about this the other day. 2 players and a ref got caught for like point shaving and pretty much fixing the game. They were fixing
Now
games.
explain what point shaving is. Point shaving.
So, to my knowledge, it's just like okay, we're supposed to only score a certain amount of points, or we have to make sure that there's a certain spread based on what the Vegas bets are that we're trying to stay within. And so I think just recently, I think it was 2 players and a ref got caught for doing this years ago. And they were because they, I think, owed money to a certain mafia or something in the US. Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. This stuff is real. Happens every sport.
Right. I mean, we were just talking shout out to the Knicks who had just won, their first NBA championship since what, 1973?
Was it 73?
I think it was 73. Yeah. So
give them a little round of applause. They deserve it. They deserve it, man. Good for them. I'm sure New York City is just going nuts all weekend long.
Dude, I bet. I mean, I was watching all kinds of videos to the build up of this, and people were just going nuts. Like game 2, game 3, game 4. Like people are showing out for New York, which I think is kind of cool. I don't know. Not that New Yorkers need anyone showing out for them. I mean, they've got enough championships when it comes to like the Yankees and
right.
But all that says, congrats. But we were just talking about one of the guys that played for San Antonio, and again, you're more of a basketball fanatic than I am, so I'm curious to hear your take. What's the guy on San Antonio Spurs that they didn't know if it was intentional or if he was just maybe like he was just too stupid. He didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I think as a whole, San Antonio showed that they don't quite have the maturity yet to win a national championship because you can't lead in every single game and give up that lead. Literally every single game of the NBA Finals, they had a lead and then gave up the lead and ended up losing the game. So, that's on them. I think that goes to show there's a lot of growth that needs to happen, but it also shows you that I think the Spurs could be on the
here it is. This is what I was waiting for. Is Jared about to call the 2022 U.S. World Cup team?
I mean, dude,
are we
if
comparing
the Spurs can afford it, I think that they are on the cusp of a dynasty, hands down. And they can keep most of those guys around, and Wemby only continues to get better, not just as a from a skill level, but gets stronger, gets more kind of just his basketball IQ continues to grow. I think there's a very real shot that they become absolutely unstoppable. But what we're talking about is game 4 when the Spurs were up by 29 points, ended up, that lead got dwindled. Obviously, they ended up losing, but they had a chance to win it with 12 seconds left. And De'Aaron Fox, poor guy, gets the steal. And then instead of bringing the ball back out and just wasting time and letting them foul him, and then he goes to the line, probably makes at least one, if not both of those foul shots. He tries to go for the layup and it gets blocked. That was one of those scenarios where it was like, obviously you feel bad for him and the team, but you're also just like, those are the scenarios where it wouldn't surprise you if you found out that the game was rigged, because there was nothing about that play that made sense at all, especially coming from somebody who's a veteran. Now, again, I don't know De'Aaron Fox. I don't know anybody on the Spurs. I'm not a big basketball. I mean, I know basketball, but I am not like a savant in basketball by any means. I'm an average person who exercises when he can. So, but that was one of those scenarios.
Call yourself?
Huh?
Like an armchair analysis, if you would classify yourself, Jared?
There you go. Exactly. I'm an armchair analyst. You mean analyst?
That's what I said.
But yeah, exactly. And so those are the scenarios where when you hear people say that the game is rigged, you're kind of like, all right, that is definitely a notch in the game could be rigged column instead of not rigged for sure.
I guess in years to come, we'll see if Jared's right. We'll see if Jared's
See,
right.
I don't want to be
Jared's
right. I don't want to be right. I think it's terrible for sports that sports are rigged. So I'd rather be wrong. I hope and I pray that I'm wrong because it's terrible for the game of basketball. It's terrible for sports as a whole when you find out stuff like that happens, man.
Yeah. Well, and anyway, before we cut out, we do have one final game. That's why I said there's a lot going on. We've got the NHL finals tonight. Not a big hockey guy. I will say going to a hockey game, in my opinion, is the best professional sport to watch. If you get a chance, the best professional sport to watch. It is.
Okay, but have you been to every professional sport or no?
I've never been to an NBA game, but I can tell you, NHL, baby, hands down. So anyway, Carolina is playing Vegas. I think it's 3-2. Carolina's up, so it could be another championship back to back. So Knicks won yesterday. We could have a new NHL championship or champion today. So really exciting for sports if you're into it, and if you're into gambling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not a big hockey guy, not a big gambling guy myself, but whoever is considered the underdog, that's who I'll root for, just like the World Cup.
Even if you're going up against USA and they're the favorite.
No, come on, man. Come on.
Just making sure.
Who does USA got? I think next week they play in Seattle, man. They play in Seattle next week against Australia. I could not afford those tickets, but I'll definitely be watching from the comfort of my own home. That's for sure.
Oh, you're not even going to go to some watch party? That would be fun, man. Those parties.
I probably won't. We'll see. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, anyway, hey, like I said, we are back for season 2. More to come on conspiracy theories, on sports, on whatever comes to our mind. Honestly,
book club. Don't forget about book club.
Oh,
we're way overdue on book club.
So let's just say that we have been talking about book club since this whole thing started. We've made it through all of 2 books in 6 months. So a little bit behind on that goal, but hey, we're working towards it. So next up, we have Jared's book, which is Drive by Daniel Pink.
Pink, yep.
And then we have my book shortly after, which is Project Hail Mary, which I am very excited to talk about. And hopefully it kind of coincides with when the movie comes out.
Have you seen
streaming.
The movie? I
have
seen
not.
The movie, but I heard it was really good. And I heard from people who read the book that the movie did the book justice.
Okay.
Which is rare.
I'm a Ryan Gosling fan, so I'm hoping. I've only seen good reviews. I am. I think Ryan Gosling. I think he's charming. I think he's funny.
Oh, you got a crush on Ryan.
He's my man. Yeah. So I'm pumped to see that. So make sure you read those 2 books before we get into our next set of books. We'll go through those.
What are the odds? I'm gonna put that because you know me. I like to speak things into existence. What are the odds that we get a guest appearance, one by Daniel H. Pink? I'm legit about to reach out to him now. I'm gonna see if I can find his contact info or his person. And then maybe we should get the author of Project Hail Mary on here, but then also get Ryan Gosling on here to talk about his role in Project Hail Mary after we watch the movie.
Jared, we can shoot for the stars. I
think
we're gonna need at least more than 2 listeners.
You never know. They might. Hey, everybody tries to do a couple of charity cases throughout the year. This is their one.
Hey, do you want to be on this failing podcast? Yes, I do. Ryan Gosling says.
Hey, never say never. Never say never, man.
So, all right. Well, hey, we're excited. More to come, everybody.
That's right. All right, brother. Till next time.
Till next time.
Y'all come back now, you hear?